Right guys, Mark Crossfield here. We're talking in the wind golfing series on the course, proper ideas of how you can lower your scores. Let's talk about approach shots when you're running it onto a green, landing it onto a green, go downwind, crosswind, those kind of ideas. Let's get you trying to lower those scores a bit, even when the wind is blowing, which it always does at courses like this. Let's get stuck in. So I'm downwind. I'm 153 yards out. So 153 yards for me, dry conditions, flat, no roll, between an 8 iron and a 7 iron, probably a good 8. Now the problem downwind, if I measure that and then hit that club, I'm going too far. So I'm actually, if I can, this is always a good thing for you to do. I know that bunker is just short of the green. And the lip of that bunker is 118 yards. So I reckon I only need to fly this 118 to 120 yards. So my yardage has now gone from an 8 iron down to a wedge because I'm thinking heavily about landing spot. The other thing with this green is it slopes from left to right, and if I was to miss left, it's all going to kick into the right. So I'm looking at where my landing spot would be for a safe miss as well as going straight at the hole. Now the other problem with downwind is I'm really worried it's going to go miles, and this is only the second hole and I'm still in a position where I want to compete, let's pretend. So if this was the 17th hole and I knew what score I needed to make, I might opt to go straight at that flag, but I'm going to use the undulations on this downwind occasion because I just feel it's safer to use the bounce because it's going to be so fiery if I get something going at that flag and not stopping. So I'm going to hit a wedge. So downwind approach shots for me, I definitely like to go less club, as much loft as I can get in my hands and chuck it in the air basically, because I want to get some kind of stop through land angle, and hitting it hard and adding lofts are going to get spin as well. I wouldn't really very often go the low option. Let's show you where that one landed. So I've landed here on the front. My measurement was 118 to here, so I've landed it maybe 5 yards further on than my measurement, which I'm happy with the wind, and then it's just released pretty much, as you can see here, to the middle of the green. So maybe not the most aggressive play. Downwind, like any situation in golf, you can choose to be aggressive or not. Second hole for me would have an effect. I would choose to be the slightly more cautious. There's no point banging it over the back of this green having no shot. But it's that land area, sloping that land area is what I'm looking at. Got to remember this is 153 or something yardage. I didn't play anything near that yardage. So we're on a tee, but this still classes as an approach shot, so I'm going to hit a 7 iron. It's 179 yards and the wind's down, but mainly off the left. My clubbing's based on the fact that I can land this short and release it down because there's a slope before the green, but the wind off the left is the thing I'm really going to think about in my clubbing as well. So if I was hitting a heavy draw here, moving the ball right to left into the air, this shot would feel more into the wind than if I was just going to hit a little cut. Now I'm going to try and hit the ball relatively straight and just use the wind to feather it into the flag. So it's that vision, that kind of pre-shot working out, which you can do as your other partner's playing their shots. You know, you don't have to stand forever over the ball. I'm doing this as they're playing their shots, just working out where I'm going to start it. So I'm going to start it up the left and try and let the wind just move it back, because I'm going to try and hit a straight shot. Working fine, wind just moving that back. That's kind of middle of the green. Take that all day long. So I think the biggest mistake people make is thinking that pre-shot routine is the answer. It's not. But I play with lots of amateurs who literally don't look at it in that way at all, and they're making very cheap mistakes by hitting what they think is a good shot coming up short because it's drawing into the wind, with the wind, say, off the left, like on this occasion. Or they're just not aiming enough left or right to give that left to right wind or right to left wind any respect. And there lies that kind of phrase again. When it comes to left to right and right to left winds, think of them as breaking putts. Try and miss on that high side. If it's off the left, try and miss it up the left rather than let it get away from you. So approach shots into the wind and even downwind, but this is the real skill when it comes to playing golf in wind and not. You could be practicing this kind of at any point that you're on the golf course. 147 yards out into the wind, I've got a 7, an 8 and a 6, and I want them all to go the same distance. That's the skill. So hopefully lots of you know by now my talking of trying not to hit the perfect position. I think this is kind of sums it up perfectly what I'm going to try and do here. So I'm going to hit 8 iron, 7 iron and 6 iron. I'm going to try and go all the same distance into the wind with the 8 iron. I'm going to have to hit this hard. I'm going to try and keep it low. I'm going to put the ball back in my stance. I'm going to try and take loft off at impact, and I'm going to thump it firm, try and get it up there. And that is on it. Is it up? Absolutely is. So next club, 7 iron. So this yardage into the wind, it's just a good 7 iron. I just have to hit a nice, good, firm 7 iron. It's not trying to change loft, I'm just hitting it up in the air, using the wind as a cushion, and that's pretty much the same distance. So last club, 6 iron. I would say this is my weakest shot, so one I'd want to practice more, and there lies the secret to this. You've again got to learn your patterns with each club. So are you better at hitting the hard 8 or the medium 7 or the soft 6? And you're only going to know that if you do what I'm doing here. Try and get off those ranges, get off those kind of perfect position videos and ideas, and start playing golf. So you might see this more as a cut or a draw depending on the shape you play. I'm going to try and hit it straight to a little bit of draw. I've come down the grip an inch and I'm going to make a shorter swing. So I'm basically going to control club head speed to control distance. And this shot naturally going in lower because it's less loft. I've just got to control that speed. Little up the left, looks pin high, maybe a little further than the others. But let's go and show you where those 3 have finished. The hard 8 iron. That was in. This was the standard 7 iron. Closer. Also in. Let's just tidy this one up. This is the 6 iron. The closest and the most pin high. Also a little bit left, which is what I do with that club. Oh my god. That was robbed. So the skill is being able to control those distances with different lofts through changing speed, a little bit of ball position and ideas of ball flight. You can be practicing this in still conditions, but it's a skill all good players will use in the wind. I would argue this is the most important skill.